Okay, recording in progress. Welcome, I'm Rick DiClemente. Welcome to a very special edition of Astrology Unplugged. And I was doing some research around, and guess what? We're 5 years old. We're not 4 years old. We were 5 years old in August. That's amazing. And tonight is show 250. So if you take 50 times 5, you just about got it. So it's because we took a few weeks off here and there. So I'm thrilled to say that. I'm real proud of us and proud of our group, et cetera, et cetera. We're expecting our guest tonight, Valerie, who's going to be our chart that she considers herself stuck. And we want to take a look at that and see if we can unstick her. I'm looking at lots of different things here. I want you to note that Greg Keene has been pushed back because of my scheduling error. He's usually December 6th or so. He's been pushed back to February 17th. So Reverend Greg Keene, who's on twice a year, he'll be with us on February 17th. Also, I wanted to note that in the midst of these 16 charts that I'm doing that people stuck, right in the middle, I reserved a week on December. What is it?
16.
December, thank you, dear. December 16th, I'm doing a special show on the massive global change to codependency. It's what's happening. I've gotten calls from Australia, around the world, people saying, what the hell's going on? There's all this darkness. So I've thought a lot about it. I got a lot to talk about, still researching it. And I think it's the result of the codependency blowing up. And what I want you to do, you being in the audience, and I'd like for you that watch from home on YouTube to make yourself a list. Keep a pad by the computer till December 16th. A list of people who are being affected because of codependency. People who are being left, people who are being included, whatever. People who are, what I'm trying to say is when codependency blows up via Pluto, she always blows it up by taking away your support systems. This is very big. I always thought it was nationwide, but I do think it's worldwide. And if you look around, make a list of brothers, sisters, relatives, friends. Just make a little note of the ones that are doing pretty good and are not codependent. Make a list of the ones that you think are, not to embarrass anybody, but for your education, because it's really happening and we need to get into it. Now, I need to take a look along my list here and see if our friend is here. She's not. Okay, so we'll see what happens, because I'm pretty known for being flexible. I've given her the URL for tonight. She is in California, and it's 8 o'clock Eastern. I told her. So anyhow,
Hey, Rick.
yeah.
What made you think about the codependency topic?
Not only that I'm noticing it everywhere, not only have I been expecting it from the Pluto return in our chart, but I'm just seeing it everywhere. I've been writing about it for a long time, and I knew that somehow I've been warning people about it since 2005, but I knew sometime would come when Pluto would stop warning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when she linked up and partnered up with Eris is when the real big stuff is happening. But we're going to see it as a nation. We're going to see it as individuals, et cetera, et cetera. So in the meantime, when I was looking around, I wanted to show you, I found this. I found the chart of Astrology Unplugged. This is the chart. Our birthday is August 18th. So on August 18th, we were 5 years old. I was sitting here thinking we were 4. So I don't know how I did it, but 5 years of this stuff. You can see in the chart, the basic nature of the show is honoring truth, which is the Sagittarian planets in the ninth, we see that one of the main planets in the chart is the moon. And I think that's very symbolic of us being like a family. We have a small family that comes every week and a bigger family that observes through YouTube. But I think this moon Neptune is very clear. We are family like. We are always talking about Pisces type stuff. We're always taking spirituality in view of the astrology chart. We're never taking the chart just by itself. As far as the technicalities of the chart, I've been teaching you a lot of Virgo, teaching a lot of details, how charts work, what this and that is. And this sun, this is the basic nature of this program. The sun being in Leo in the sixth house, I think is very nice because it tells us that one thing we try to do while reading charts is always maintain the dignity of the person being read for. And that's a very Leonine thing. Also, we see Venus across from Neptune, across over the ascendant. So this is a very nice aspect, which is about the spiritual development of all the people involved. We also see a bucket pattern to Uranus in Aries, and I think that's rather clear. This shows very Uranian, and even with Uranus next to Eris. So I couldn't help it, but what did I do next? I did the solar return, the birthday. So here's August 19th that we just had this summer, and I missed it. I missed it because I missed it.
Mhm.
Look at this return chart. It's marvelous. The sun opposite Jupiter for the whole year coming up. This holds true till next August for this show. We see further technicality being stressed. Mercury, Mars, moving with precision. And the Mars is somewhat opposite Neptune. So we see Neptune is really, once again, very strong in this chart. And again, what do we see? Jupiter, Neptune. Okay, so I keep telling you that I'm leaning the show away from astrology, more towards spirit. I don't know why, it just is. And that's certainly what we're seeing with the Jupiter, Neptune there. We see the heavy duty moon, Pluto in the eighth house, which means that we're not afraid to dig into the deeper qualities of the psyche. And I think we do that pretty well. We see Venus opposite Chiron, which I think shows the free spirit of the people that are talking. We see Gemini ruling the chart, and with Mercury and Virgo being the ruler of the chart, that shows that I don't let the episodes stray too far without bringing it back to how do you accurately say this? How do you accurately say that? One of the things that's very important in astrology, as you're learning, is to learn to say the terms right. You have to say the terms right, because if not, you get your houses mixed up with your aspects, etc. So that's what's going on here. And I don't know what happened to Valerie, but my gut sense is that she has got her hours mixed up. So let me do this. Okay, so we're recording once again as we wait for Valerie. In the meantime, I could take a look at what the planets are doing today, but I think it's more important, and I wanted to do this soon anyway, to open the show up to questions and answers, because I know you're all at different levels of knowledge, and I think it's good sometimes to stop and just ask any question astrological, because you may seem like a dumb question, but it's not. So we'll do that. See, Amy looks like she's getting ready. She's muted. All right.
Oh,
Okay,
it's not working.
I had to ask her to unmute. I don't know why that is. Now she should be able to unmute. Okay.
There it is. I'm like pushing the button and it's just giving me the hand saying,
I don't
stop, you
know
can't I wasn't supposed to talk apparently. My question is, kind of going back to the whole, what you were talking about is the codependence thing coming up. So how does that play out for people like me, who I have literally like 0 friends in my environment? Like, I mean, I have the extended family like of you guys and whatever, but I have like 0 close friends, no relationships, besides like a couple parental ones and such. Like, how does that end up playing out for those that aren't
Okay,
already?
very good question, because in general, the most codependent signs of the zodiac are Cancers and Libras. But that's certainly not true all the time. I mean, that's why you can't get too hung up about your sun sign. And then you look at Cancers that have a lot of Aquarius in them, and it takes them away from that. The answer to your question is rather simple. You can be codependent on non-humans. People can be codependent on their bar being open, codependent on the pool table being open, codependent on their dog, their cat. It's a symbol that you're dependent on something for your existence. And Pluto warns you about it, because Pluto wants you to be dependent upon nothing but yourself.
Okay.
That's the answer. That's the answer that I have always followed. And I think I've seen several people that really don't want relationships, but by God, if their bar's closed, they go crazy.
Okay. No bars here, no pets here.
Well, boy, you're codependent on nothing but black hair.
Dark chocolate.
No, dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate and books, and I don't even have time to read books anymore. But that's kind of what I was wondering, because you have this whole, codependent. I think part of this whole breakdown of the Pluto part is people have been so codependent on the system of the AKA government that's going to disintegrate.
Well, it's not just the government that is disintegrating. It's the Aussie and Harriet we've been taught.
Exactly. It's all the
You
levels.
stay married this guy 45 years and you're doing the right thing. And it's not the right thing. Well, what we have in relationships now, it's changed. And there was a time for Aussie and Harriet, but it's changed now to, are you relating? Are you relating to each other? If you're relating, we're going to let you be. If you're not relating, we're going to pressure you to break up. Okay? Now, let's take a look in your chart and see, and we'll see why this happens for you. Because it can be peregrine planets. It can be a lot of different things. Just stick with me. All right. I didn't see this coming with her chart tonight. Okay, here's your chart. All right, so first of all, I've noticed with Cancer people, when their sun is in the top hemisphere, they're much more independent than the ones when it's in the bottom. Secondly, I have noticed a lot of Cancers when they have a moon in Sag, that really helps them become independent. Now, you've got both symbols representing dependency, the sun in Cancer and the moon in Libra. But we do have your moon 8 degrees from Uranus. We do have your sun in the 11th house, which is the Aquarian house, right? We have the Saturn opposite Jupiter and Neptune. We have Mars in Aquarius. This Mars, here she is. This Mars in Aquarius is not only strong, it's strong enough to answer all your questions there. You have plenty of streaks. There's Valerie. You have plenty of streaks in your chart, Amy, that lean you towards independence. And Aquarians are just usually not codependent. They just aren't. It happens rarely. Okay? So you see, that's why sun sign astrology is so weak. We saw 4 different symbols in your chart of a lot of independence. And you wouldn't have it any other way. Valerie, we welcome you from California. We were wondering where you were.
Oh dear. I'm so sorry. I was actually listening to your other Unplugged scenario. And then I'm like, oh, I realized it's 8:20 your time. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. We're glad to have you aboard. Can you tilt your camera down a little bit, please? There we go. And how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
And we're glad to have you. I know I've made friends with you on Facebook through the years, but I haven't gotten to know you real deeply. And I know you are a spiritual woman. I know you're Aquarian, and I know you have been all over the planet living in all these exotic places, which is very Aquarian. I have great time with Aquarian women. They're just really smart. They're really independent, and they really like having a discussion. It means something. And they're really, really good at considering the ramifications of what they're talking about. So Aquarian men are quite different. But anyhow, welcome. Your time is right. And we messed around with a couple of little things, such as this is show 250, and we've just had our fifth anniversary. So we're very happy about that. Now you are living in Santa Monica.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a couple questions, not much. We're going to go right to your chart. Why do you feel stuck?
Well, I don't know if it's stuck. I think it's a slight holding pattern. I would like to create a new foundation. It's necessary. My parents recently, a couple years ago, passed away. And with regard to that, the home site, the family, everything kind of just dissipated. Let's put it that way, a nice way. And
Things
so,
that just kind of left you by yourself?
yeah, pretty much.
Huh?
Yes.
That's happening all around. I'm seeing that. May I interrupt you for a second? Has there been any codependency involved?
Probably on my part, yes. I was single until my 40s, so I tended to try to keep a relationship with siblings that they're married with children, and as an Aquarian, I'm also very independent. I don't need a lot of people, but yeah, I think I was dependent to a certain extent than that, thinking that I had family, but I'm so different than.
Well, there's a
That must be
fine
my
line.
same
Yes,
way.
there's a fine line difference between being close to your family and being codependent. I would imagine that the answer is how much suffering there is. But anyhow, I like the other people. We're doing about 16 people that have claimed to be codependent. We've done about 5 so far. There's a special coming up on this show, December 12th. I'm going to reserve the time just for that program to talk about that topic because it's hitting worldwide, especially in the USA. Okay, so we're going to get to your chart. Let me ask a few questions. What do you generally do as income?
I own a few companies with my husband. We are in music business and real estate.
Music and real estate. Okay. Okay, very good. And what sign, may I ask, is he?
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Usually a good match for you. That's what I got here at home. Capricorn, I'm the Capricorn, she's the Aquarian. And the reason it's usually pretty good, even though signs next door to each other don't normally do well, but these two signs do, because as you know, Aquarians have 2 rulers. They're ruled by Saturn and Uranus. And that's usually why the Aquarian can swing both ways. Now, let's get into your chart. We'll just see what, I'll tell you what, I've been seeing something very clear and I'm getting very brave and I'm going to tell you what I see. I'm not going to chicken out.
I am not
All
a
right.
fan easily.
All right. You've watched enough shows. Okay. Here's your Aquarius, Sun, Venus. And you've got Pisces rising, and you get the moon in Capricorn. These are some rather quote unquote advanced positions. You got the 10th sign, you got the 11th sign, you got the 12th sign. Then you got powerful 12th sign represented by Neptune. And when you got a lot of planetary constructs that express the 10th, 11th, and 12th archetypes, then usually the personality has the capacity to hang out way up above the stars. Now, what's intriguing to me, you got the moon in Capricorn, and Pluto's just passed over that. Pluto's just spent a couple of years over that. Are you aware of your chart at all?
Not much, I'm afraid.
Okay, your Pluto has been hanging out on your moon in the past couple of years, and the moon is your family, and the moon and Pluto being on your moon is what causes moms and dads to disappear and what causes families to disappear. It's not known why. It's very common when the moon gets hit that Pluto takes people in triplets. I don't know why. It happens a lot, not always. And I also think we got to get away from this phrase, taking people. Nothing took anybody. These people left when it was time to leave. That's just really true. Now, what I found, Valerie, is your mom and dad have left. What I found is they've left because they know you're going to be okay. That's what I found. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. They just know they don't have to worry about you. And they got things to do. Okay, now, when Pluto hits your moon, it's one thing. When the period after Pluto hits your moon is another. So the last couple of years as Pluto was approaching your moon, all kind of shit was going on. Just all kind of just in the family, and things were questionable, and who's going to leave the land to, and what's going to happen, and he's not feeling good, and all that. And it's very turbulent. That's stage one of a Pluto transit, akin to the United States about 2008. Then stage two comes. Stage two is, oh shit, this is not just imagined, this is real. Some real repair work needs to be done. Now you're seeing the United States is heavily invested in stage two. We don't know what we're going to do. There's no light in stage two. You just got a mess. You're dirty. You're trying to find your way out. You ever been in a factory that's dirty and greasy and loud? It's no picnic. That's stage two. And you've been in stage two for quite a while. Now, what's happening to you, but not the country, what's happening to you is you're coming into stage three. Stage three, I believe, these are my inventions. Stage three is where you're starting to see the light, but there's still a mess around you. You got a mess of stuff to clean up and stuff, but that light you're starting to see is directly related to the cleanup that you've already been doing, including showing up late on an international TV show, internet show. So, does that make any sense to you when I'm talking about these stages? Stage two is the mess is here. It's really real. I can't ignore it. Stage three is it's still here, but I'm starting to see that there's light coming. Keep doing the work I'm doing. Stage four is rare. You get out of it and you gain the strength and you get up on your high horse and you start galloping away. That's rare that people make it to that stage. Does this make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, I can't hear you very well, and I don't know why. I don't know if you need to get closer or if it's your mic. Okay, let me clarify for you. Stage one was denial. What's really happening, but you're just still used to denying because you can get by with it. Stage two is, oh shit, there's no more denying. It's here, it's real, I got to deal with it, and I don't know how. In stage two, I need you to tilt your camera down a little again. Stage two, the success in stage two depends on how fast you can clean up your basement and throw the junk out. It's that simple. It's exactly what happens. Dig into the junk and throw it out. It's symbolic of a heart that's become blackened, or it's dismal, and there's no light, there's no air. So people at stage 2, they want to go in the basement, throw their junk out. And I mean, they want every inch out. And I mean, they actually do it in their basement. And it's symbolic of them getting more breathing room around their heart. So has this stage seemed familiar to you recently?
Oh, every day it's focusing on the heart. Yes. And cleaning. I've smelled a lot of clothes lately.
Okay.
Friendships, clothing, relationship, everything. Absolutely.
Especially relationships where they're not 50-50. The biggest thing in astrology, if you're hanging out in a relationship that's not 50-50 and you stay in it, oh boy, you got problems. And that's one of the big reasons I'm talking about on December 12th. Okay. The reason the codependency is intertwined with this is when you are codependent, there's no you. There's no you there because you're so busy being the person that you think the other person wants you to be instead of being who you are. And that's why people have phenomenal success. As soon as they start throwing their junk out and they return to being themselves, and they start to feel so relieved, and then God's flow of energy is coming your way. Now, I'm not going to mess around with you because your chart is big time. And your chart is telling me very clearly by looking at your past life chart, by looking at your destiny chart, by looking at the current chart that's going on now, your chart is going through a phenomenal spiritual turning point. It is. And what that means, you are, and I'm helping you because the fact that I'm helping you is indicative of spirit helping you. Your chart is ready to go through the final step in the zodiac. And the final step in the zodiac is the first 11. You see that book behind you. It's all about this subject. The first 11 stages is up through Aquarius. And that's through the stage of the human being finessed and being formed. Well, what happens in the 12th stage? It's time to give up being an individual. And your chart knows about it. Your chart's clear about it. Your chart has known about it through many lifetimes. It is time for you to do it now. Now, one of the things I want to say about this, you do not get deceived and think, oh, I can't pay any more attention to Valerie. That's crazy stuff. There's so much junk out there with the new age movement about get rid of the ego, get rid of the ego, get rid of the ego. Forget it. Just let it pass when it does. Let it pass when it does. But I can definitely see in you, and I don't know your husband, I can definitely see in you through your charts that you're looking out at the world and you're just so saddened because Aquarians are so idealistic. It just rips them up to see people suffering. And they're so tolerant and they love people. They just love people. But your chart is at the point now where you're having to let go of everybody. The earth is shaking. The flat earthers are falling off the edge. Whatever is happening. But your chart is ready. It's been ready for a long time. And tonight, I knew that tonight's show had to mean something because you wouldn't be here otherwise. It's not in your natal chart. It's not in your birth chart. It's not in your sixth harmonic, which is your destiny. It's not in your 12th harmonic, which is your spiritual background or your soul travels. It's in your next year's chart. That's where I saw it in your next year's chart, your solar return for next year. Look at this chart. I couldn't figure it out. I worked on this a long time. Here is your chart for next year. Take a look at that, Claudia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets in the 6th and 7th house. 5 of them are in Aquarius. The bottom of the chart is the moon in Scorpio. I'm going to tell you what this means, Valerie, because I don't expect you to be able to read that. But what this is about, your chart has this consistent theme of being me, but being us. but me, but us, but me, but us. This has gone on through many lifetimes, enough to drive you mad. But this chart is about, I'm going to finesse the two together. I'm going to fuse the two together. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. The bucket pattern is all swinging from the moon in Scorpio. This means that next year, this chart is effective for your next birthday for the next year. Okay, through most of 22. This chart is all about getting myself independent, but taking care of myself emotionally and seeing how the one, up until now, I don't think you've been able to see these two factors as similar. You've been seeing them always as black and white. That's what I'm saying. And the moon in Scorpio is nobody mess with me. I'm going to get my nest together. I'm going to get my new foundation built, which is what you just said. Why are you getting a new foundation built? Why are you getting a new foundation built? Because you have allowed whatever reason through your past to crumble you and step on you and cause you to shake because your foundation just wasn't strong enough. And it was built so long ago that it's understandable. But now we're going to see two things that are major in the chart. We're seeing next year's chart, we're seeing this new foundation, which is really powerful, and it's opposite Mars and it's opposite Uranus, so it's really highly energized. But all of this stuff is going here. This is the story in the chart. This is about you're coming out and meeting the public and you're ready for them. You're coming out to meet the public and you're ready for them. You've been preparing for them for a long time. You're ready to hang a new hat, a new shingle. You're ready to see these people and meet people and shake hands. And you're not in the mood to play around with anybody. In other words, the kind of stuff that you're doing sounds similar to what Amy's thinking of doing. And if the other people don't go along, fine, turn the page. That's what's going on with you. You ain't got time for it. Now tell me what you think.
Absolutely. Everything you're saying is 100% correct.
Okay, tell me a little bit more.
I could not have wrote the book better myself.
Tell me a little bit more and loudly.
Well, yes, the new foundation, everything's crumbling, but I'm actually good. And what you mentioned about the emotional maturity, that is also happening. I'm more capable now. I'm noticing the mind and the heart.
You're allowing yourself to be more capable. You always worried, but you didn't allow it because you always thought it was too outrageous. Well, what have I been telling people the last 8 months on this show? It's time to be outrageous. It's time to think really big, really big. And if you're thinking that big, I don't even want to hear about it. Okay, you're right. Go on. That's what's happening with the planets now. And you are a big time thinker because you may not know this from other shows, but Aquarians are always doing one thing. Isn't that not 2000? That's solar return of 2022. Coming up, yes. Oh, you're right there. Okay, I've been doing the wrong year. So what I've been telling you about 2022 has been happening this year. Okay, so what I was telling you about thinking it was 2022 is really 2021, and it will end on your coming birthday. So that's the 2021 shaking hands with people, meeting people, building a new foundation, etc. Right?
No, well, pretty much getting rid of everybody.
All right, okay. Let's go on to the 2022 and see what we see here. Here's the 2022. Okay, February 3rd coming up. In this year coming, we see tremendous operation going around with the foundation here. Venus and Mars here trining Uranus, Sun, Saturn, next year being all about getting a new foundation built. Moon next to Neptune in Pisces. Next year, you're going to be putting your focus tremendously towards doing more intuitive work, whether it's tarot or whatever it is, just doing a lot more foundation work. Nevertheless, what I want to talk to you about is the main theme. The main theme in all of these charts is that for a long time, you have been working to perfect Valerie. As we all do, right? And it's no longer the story. Valerie is starting to find her guidance from some other source. It's very intuitive. It's very certain. Certain. There's no question about it. And Aquarians make the mistake of trying to figure things out. You're past that now. You're done figuring. There's no time for you to figure anymore. If there's any problem with figuring in your chart, it's got to be with the Capricorn stuff, trying to be too careful. But what your chart's evolving to now is more and more input spiritually, more and more inputs through grace and just knowing. How does that sound to you?
Sounds right.
Tell me what you think.
I do believe that the intuition is getting stronger, and I am opening. I feel opening, and basically just I agree 100% with everything that you're seeing and describing.
I'm not only seeing it.
I'm a people person, and I want this to be my last trip. So I'm very dedicated to keeping. That's what you see when how I'm a decider or distinct with certain things. It's like
Well,
yes,
what I'm seeing with people is we're all starting to realize that none of us had to come back. I'm seeing this with great certainty. We've come back because we've kidded ourselves into thinking if we came back and fixed this, we'd be okay. And we don't need to fix anything.
No.
We don't need to fix anything. We're already okay. We're already fabulous the way we are. Not as fabulous as John is, but John's really got it great. John tells me he gets up in the morning and it's great. He goes to bed and it's great. I mean, I don't know what his secret is. He told me he won't put it in a jar and sell it. So I'm not sure what to do, but the man's got the handle on this thing. Now, I'm being very serious with you. You're getting to the point where you're going to stop thinking about this stuff. Aquarians are always thinking about the mental plane, how the ideas fit, how do the philosophies fit, all this shit. And you're just done with it. And it's happening fast. And the reason you're done with it, that's the reason for the new foundation, is because the new foundation is going to be one of spirits. But your chart's very clearly showing you're going to start building everything what I call hydroponically, based on spirit, based on water, not based on thought anymore. And you're not going to question it. And I think it's really tremendous. How long have you been married to the Capricorn?
9 or 10 years.
9, 10 years? Okay. Let's take a look at your...
We were married on 21/12/12. Yeah. 12/21.
21/12/12. Okay. Here's the 6th harmonic. This is the destiny chart. And the destiny has the sun high in the sky. Neptune is always really prominent. So Neptune is prominent in all these charts. That means you're leading with your God self. That's what it means. Now, I'm really curious. Why have you gotten into real estate and what's the other thing?
Music.
Okay, first of all.
My husband's companies that I have a great opinion on.
Okay.
Like a good wife, I have an opinion on all of his businesses.
Okay. The music business is what type?
We do trailer for motion pictures and video games, things of this nature.
Oh, okay. You're in that production company.
Correct.
Okay. And why did you get into real estate?
This again is my husband's company, and just because that's what our unique life skills are. He's a broker.
What are your skills in?
Well, my past has been natural medicine and shamanistic.
That's why I told my girl before you came on that we're going to run into an herb garden here sooner or later. We're running into an herb garden in natural medicine somewhere. Because that's what Aquarians love. Huh?
Yeah, I took some time off. I didn't feel like no one I knew was interested in natural medicine. And I just felt like society wasn't ready to hear or was open to anything I had to offer. So I just kind of closed that part of me down and became a partner.
Okay, fine. Now I'm not talking you into anything or out of anything. What I want to know is where do you feel that you want to go next? I mean, you came on this show under the terms
I was hoping
of
you would find
being,
me.
I'm saying you came on the show under the terms of blocked for some reason. So where do you
Codependent, obviously. I need your advice to see what is a valid path for me that, you know.
Good. All right. Well, what I'm seeing is real clear. We're going to get into it. You are heavy duty spirit. And the shaman stuff made my ears stick way up. And Claudia's too. The shaman stuff makes sense because shamanism, I just went through a 6-month course with somebody, shamanistic, and it was phenomenal learning experience. Why are you interested in the shaman?
I think that it helps you learn how to play in this realm and to see things differently, to play differently with
Good
your
point. Good point.
thoughts and your power. And I feel like I'm an old soul, and the 3D is the way it's presented, and it's boring, and
That's the way I wanted to say it. The 3D is boring. The
play.
3D is boring. Yes. Exactly. The 3D is boring. Okay. So let's go look at your natal chart once again. We're going to do this astrologically. All right. Here's your birth chart. The birth chart is somebody who's been very spiritual for a long time, who's just undergone a complete emotional death and rebirth. And the rebirth is still happening kind of freshly now because the death is not that far in the past. She's guided very much by the light of truth, period. Don't argue with her. She's guided by the light of truth. You can't argue in the Aquarian anyway, but you cannot argue with it. She's going to stay following that North Star. Forget it. Nothing else is going to happen. Okay. You've still got this really radical. This is the real question in the chart at the first level layer is you've got this tremendous sense of selfness, being strong in the self. I'm strong. I'm an individual. Then you got all this other stuff is I'm one of all of us. I'm one of all of us. I'm all of us. And these two appear to be really distinct in black and white. And they've been around a long time fighting. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
And what's happening now, since I got your return charts mixed up, what's happening now is you're starting to see how they can be blended. You can be a strong Valerie and a hell of a unit and part of the oneness, just like John can be. John is having lots of dreams and lots of visions of oneness, etc. And John's still a very strong individual. So I hope we're putting that to bed. Does that make sense?
You can be both. You can, I
Yeah,
can
you can
express
be
myself.
both. You can't be both. You want to be an egomaniac, but I don't think we're dealing with an egomaniac. Okay. But what's happening now, and it's really in the chart, like you just said, we're tired of the 3D world. It just doesn't have the answers in it. And transcendental techniques do have the answers in it. Okay, so let's go look at your past life chart and see what was in it. All right. Okay, in the past life chart, we see the sun is opposite Neptune. This is so strong that you almost throw the rest of the chart away. This is so strong. This is ego, ego, non-ego, self, non-self. This is just this is your pattern through many lifetimes. This is the central force that you've been dealing with all along, but you've been trying all along consistently. Everything comes up Mars, Uranus. In your charts, it's all coming up Mars, Uranus. You've been trying to be self and non-self and self and non-self, but still be a really dynamic individual. You can't do it. It's not you can't do it. The only answer to a chart like this, in my opinion, is to put the self in perspective. And you got to stop thinking that you are the doer, because you're not the doer. It's the doer. It's the doer. It's always has been the doer. There never was us doing anything except us kidding ourselves. So this needs to be weakened down here, and this needs to be strengthened. But what do we see happening in this chart now? Something's got to be hitting something to make this happen. Uranus is sitting right here. Uranus is sitting right on Chiron. Uranus is sitting right on Chiron in Taurus. Uranus is sitting right here on Chiron in Taurus. What does that mean? It means that the key, it's shaped like a key. The key to this development is for you to start opening up and finding your own self-worth by you looking inside to find it. It's about self-worth. This is a phenomenal turning point.
You found the needle in the haystack.
Yeah, it's a self-worth. And that doesn't mean you had bad self-worth. You could have. You could have had self-worth that was too tied to other people's opinions. It could be too tied to this philosophical thing that you've been trying to attain. I think what we're going to see here is you're going to see a lot of religions in big trouble soon. And it's only because they're not telling us the truth. That's all. They got great intentions, but they're not telling us the truth. And the truth is what happens when you go inside and you smile inside. You do what John says. I keep picking on John. I love it. Okay. The truth is to find your own self-worth inside. Now, this part of you, in another way, how old are you now?
51, about to be 52.
Okay, when you're 51 is when this happens. When you're 51 is when Chiron returns. So Chiron being the planet of your destiny, and also the planet of your healed healer, is in the sign of Taurus in this chart. And in the sign of Taurus in this chart, it says that you've been suffering somewhat because you've not had enough strong sense of self-worth. And now with Uranus hitting there recently, just recently there, and the Chiron return is coming, this issue of self-worth is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's going to become bigger because as the Chiron returns to that spot, Uranus is already there. So what you should be finding now is your self-worth is exploding and you could care less what someone else thinks.
Well, I'm pretty much getting there.
I think you is there. So what questions do you have? Because I think you are there.
Well, bless you for saying so. It's been work for sure. I would like so you mentioned something about an herb garden earlier. Can you?
I told my girlfriend we're going to run and do an herb garden on this show. I
Because that
just,
was
I
my
just,
thing for a while.
I just have found, I don't know why. Well, I kind of do know why. From my early involvement with Aquarian people, they're especially the females, they're just really good at putting in herb gardens. They love herbs, they love nature, they're fanatics about the environment, and they go out into the garden and they just marvel at all the things that are happening out there. You see, Aquarians, to Aquarians, you give them a blade of grass and the whole damn universe is there. And they're thrilled by it. And they're not goofy. It's because if you really look at the blade of grass and look at what the hell's happening, you can understand anything in the world. That's what the old saying says. And so that's why Aquarians are known for give them one field and they'll just get fanatical about it till they master it. And then they might push it aside, get to something else. Gemini, they get into it for 5 minutes. That's kind of interesting. It's cool. Now I'm bored with it. Let me try something else. Completely different. Aquarius is about mastery. Mastery because you're trying to master all the intellectual thoughts and rules through this one thing. Because as the rules of the universe apply to that blade of grass, it also applies to the planets, which is why astrology is such an Aquarian thing. Now, what is it that interests you about herb garden?
I just love it. I just love the beauty.
The smell?
The smell, the healing aspect of it, nature, earth, all the elements, and they're there to provide.
Which is why I'm going to ask you again, why are you in real estate?
No, well, that's probably why my soul's been a little depressed. I haven't been doing much creativity or.
What I'm asking you is, are you satisfied at the soul level doing real estate?
No.
Okay. Are you able to survive without it?
I could use a job.
Well, jobs are good, yes. Okay. But remember, the big turning point you're going through is bigger than anything we've talked about. And we end up talking about this with everybody. You're going through the faith option. As you start to give up things like jobs, business, worrying about how the insurance is covered, you're starting to really depend upon what Christ said.
Well,
And we've got your back. We'll always have your back. Go ahead.
at that moment, literally, I feel with any minute now, I'm about to jump into the void. Like that is it. That is the last option I have, is to not think and just go.
That's exactly what we're talking about here. And I saw it so strong, repeated in your charts. That's what I see. But you're different than anybody else I've talked to recently, because I've seen one person like you recently, because you are a powerhouse. You are just a powerhouse, but you're not able to find your power when you're playing 3D land. You're not able to find your power when you're talking to other real estate agents. You're not able to find your power when you're looking at the cost of houses in Los Angeles. Just not going to find it. It's not there. It's for the worldly folks. Wish you was one. You was one once. But not now.
I have nothing to lose now.
Yeah, but the thing is, you never did.
That's true.
You never have anything to lose, and you always have everything to gain.
Very well.
Look at Susan. Susan got tired of the BS. She bought a Winnebago, whatever it's called. She got in Cleveland, and she gave up everything and sold it, and she got her little doggie. 2 doggies? 2 dogs. two dogs. She got in her Winnebago and she went all the way across the top of the US and all the way down through California. Now she's out in Arizona and she's on with us every week, reporting in as a traveling Sagittarian.
That's awesome.
Claudia says Susan's my hero. See, you're our hero. See, a few people on YouTube are watching. You can't see what we're typing to each other, which is one advantage to getting on the show live. So if you ever want to join us, 8 o'clock Thursday nights, go to Google and type in Astrology Unplugged. It'll give you the link. I'm just a person who cannot sit still. Well, that's true also. When you have a Sagittarian sun and you have a moon in Gemini, you ain't going to be doing much sitting still. Okay, but you're doing what you should be doing. I mean, look at the Virgo Mother Teresa. What did she do? She kept working and working and working and working. She's going to do what Virgo says. But what was she doing? She was fixing and fixing and fixing and fixing and fixing. And what did she say? She saw Christ in everything she touched. She saw Christ in everything she touched, including little herbs, little oreganos, little things, little plants, etc. So what I'm saying to you is we're inching closer now. I was wondering about this, that you said you're an inch away. Now, what this is going to do, since we're at the age of no codependency, and I forgot to mention that the other codependent side is Capricorn. What is your husband going to do? Is your husband going to be pressured towards, in other words, there's no sign, and I'm a double Capricorn, and my dad was one, so I can say what I'm saying. There's no sign that avoids themselves more than Capricorn.
Really?
There's no sign, I don't know if the word avoid is right. There's no sign that's more willing to push their self aside for other people's needs, but it's not completely altruistic. It's not. So we would have to look in your husband's chart to see if this issue of you wanting to go jump into the herb garden is going to be an issue with him. We don't know. But this may fall into that codependent category that we started this with. Does that make sense?
It is absolutely, and it's coming full circle. Yeah, I do think.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my husband and I both have a codependent. Well, we help each other.
Yeah, but he's coming full circle and you're a team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Then that's just the best you could have. Same thing here. That's just wonderful. Because I've seen couples recently where I'm dealing with a woman and they're doing good, and I go look at the husband and I go, oh boy, she's got some stuff to do here. And the woman's being taken away because she's symbolic of him losing his support system. So it's good that it's not happening here. Okay, anybody got any questions for Valerie? Open it up to you. If you got any questions for Valerie or for me about her chart, now would be a good time, because I think Valerie is a really good example of what we're doing recently.
I think Ray has something on the chat.
Yeah, Ray, let's chat. Where's Ray at? How we're transiting Pluto, trining her natal Pluto affect her? Okay, that's a really good question. Ray often asks a lot of really good questions. So while you see that she has a natal Pluto trine to the moon, that as the transiting Pluto went past her and it is expressing the lunar qualities now, it's also trining the Pluto. Well, that's a really excellent question. And the answer is yes. The fact that she lives with a natal Pluto that's always talking harmoniously to her moon, it will definitely help her Pluto pass over her moon. There's no doubt about it. Plus, she's got Capricorn involved. And as I said, Aquarians are Capricorn / Aquarius. And the Pluto trine to Pluto. Now watch how this works. Since she's got Pluto trying to Pluto, and I've been telling Claudia this, since she's got Pluto trying to Pluto, and the Pluto's where? In the 7th house? It's in the 7th house. Okay, that means that her whole issue of letting go of people and starting to reestablish relationships with people is going to be good, yes. But when you got Pluto trying Pluto, it's either coming from the 5th house or the 9th house. If you put Pluto on the ascendant, the trine to Pluto is coming from the 5th house or the 9th house. In this case, it's coming from the 5th house. Okay, what is the 5th house? Children, playgrounds, expression, etc., etc. Creativity. So one of the things that Pluto could be doing to her now, Pluto always digs inside and says, I want to mean more. I want to have more meaning. Well, when you're talking about creativity, she's thinking, I don't have a creative outlet for all my passions. Duh. So what do you think about them apples? She's that shape means she's so tired of 3D world. That's what that means. What are you going to do? You're going to pick up the flute? And sit in a tree?
Maybe my fairy harp.
Like fireside dinner?
Yeah, why not?
Pluto in the 5th house, by virtue of a trine, means it's perfect time for all these other things that you're doing, also to express yourself. And you know, so many people tell you this crap all through the years. They tell you about how Aquarians don't fit. I was always the outcast. I mean, I've looked at so many Aquarians in my life, and some of them do some weird things, but most of them are they're just fascinated with life. They're fascinated with the beauty of life. And yeah, they buy the weird albums that nobody else buys. That's me. I used to buy all these Fred and the Ding Dongs. Who?
Oh,
They just look for the unusual because they hate that the unusual is being put down. And one of the greatest things about Aquarians is they're so tolerant. They're just really tolerant. We could all use some of that. So what do you want to play? Banjo? Come on, there's something, a piccolo? There's something in there, Susan. Come on, Valerie.
I'm gonna play the drum.
Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to play the drums. Really?
Yeah, the hang drum.
You mean like a trap set?
Yeah, well, one of those, they look like a spaceship. They're called hand drums or hang.
Oh, those kinds. Okay.
Very classic.
Now we're getting to be, what do they call it? What's the festival out west? Burning Man. Now we're getting you ready for Burning Man. Let's get her going, huh?
That's a little too over top for me.
Oh, what the hell? Everybody, can you imagine people at Burning Man telling each other that they're over the top? Huh? Crazy. Okay, let's get serious for a moment. What's really going on in your chart? And I don't care what happens to you physically in the 3D world, that's up to you. But you're going through a phenomenal and independent spiritual awakening. You're doing it at the time when the whole damn planet better do it, or we're in trouble. I mean, I don't know. I've been watching this stuff a long time, but it looks to me like we're in a lot of trouble on planet A here. And everybody wants me to, they all want me to tell them when it's going to get better. And I tell them, it's not my job to tell you when it's going to get better. My job is to tell you what the planets are doing. And what the Pluto return is doing in this country, it's showing us our shit, asking us to be responsible for whatever we can, clean it up.
Well, you're seeing, I mean, what is your prospect? in astrology of this being your perception, your projection. I mean, we have to take responsibility for what.
Well, my whole answer, and it's not a real good one. My first answer is what do you say?
Well,
Really? And everybody else they say the same thing.
it can be very simple. It can be, I don't want to be an asshole. I just wanna be,
Boy, that's really good. I'm
or
gonna put that on the border here. I don't want to be an asshole anymore. That's exactly right.
I would like to, you don't have to believe everything you're seeing.
Yeah, but you ought to live in southwestern PA and see how many people watch Fox Network.
Oh, I've got enough of that in my family.
Yeah, well, it ain't southwestern PA out in the middle of California. But anyhow,
God bless you on that. I hear you.
yeah. No, you're exactly right. But here's my take, because I've been writing on Pluto since 05 very heavily. The question is this: since 05 and 08, the patient has been on the table. The American patient has been on the table. He's been cut open and cut open and cut open, and pus is coming out, and pus is coming out, and all this corruption just pouring out. And it's valid stuff that we found that we ignored for a long time. And the only question I have is, how much can the patient take? I think that's a reasonable question. I don't know. I know love is all powerful, but that's why I said to this group for years, we needed somebody to come by and wake us up. But I thought it would be UFOs, or I thought it would be the Pope. I didn't know it would be a virus. And that's what it was. And it ain't done.
No.
The virus is symbolic. But I'll tell you something else. You weren't here, Valerie. I've been telling everybody else is this Pluto and Capricorn period that's been going on since 08 through 23. That period is just about done. And then Pluto goes into Aquarius. We need Aquarians to come in and save the world. Because Aquarians are smart. They're not selfish. They work in groups. They're detached from it. They've got the whole mindset of all of us working together. They can see the ramifications of stuff. We need the Aquarian mindset, even more than the Pisces. We need the Aquarian mindset to start taking over. And we don't know when the age of Aquarius starts. Nobody does.
Well, I think a lot, not reacting and responding. And I just feel this entire planet right now is in reactive gear.
Well, we're panicking.
Yeah.
Well, of course we're panicking. It makes a lot of sense. But what I ask you is here we go, ready? After you get out of the real estate business and plant yourself a bunch of herbs, what groups are you going to then form and help?
I can't see that.
Okay, fine.
I think I have a little more, I just don't know anyone who's interested in that.
Okay, it's okay because we can help each other on different levels. We help each other on different levels. You can do on one that's completely nonverbal. Just the fact that you're doing it and your heart's in the right place. And everybody on this group is always that way. We always have a wonderful group of healers in different fashions on this group. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are becoming healers. I'm trying to get this show bent more and more towards spiritual direction. I'm just dealing with so many clients that are leaving their jobs and going into spiritual type jobs. You'll be led in the right way. There's no doubt about it. Let's take a look at your sixth harmonic, which we haven't done much. The sixth harmonic is another derivative of your birth chart that deals with six, and six is the Virgo number and has to do with life direction and your hero's journey. Now look at this one. Here's six. The sun's at the top. Here's Neptune again. Look at Mars and Uranus. No matter what I do to your chart, these two stay together. This means no matter what you do, I'm going to be a hell of an individual, period. They also say, I'm going to do it my way. And you say, no, you're not. And it says, yes, I am. This is, I'm going to do it my way, Frank Sinatra chart. Now look at this. This Mars Uranus is between the Sun and Neptune. It's at the midpoint of the two. So again, we see that theme of being a self, a strong self, but yet being spiritually, I don't want to say obedient. I want to say you're a volunteer, surrendering voluntarily. Okay, now look at this. You got Saturn rising. You got a T-square to Venus in Cancer. So what this says about your lifetime, what you would be best doing, what you're best at, is very Cancerian. And that means taking care of people. You love taking care of people, making feel they are in a home and they feel happy. This is one of the reasons you're in real estate, is you're really happy putting people into a house that they like. And it really makes you feel happy when they're happy. Does that make sense?
That's from my Cancer mother. She taught me that.
Okay, that's the Cancer. The Neptune's really, really strong. Now, what do we see being activated now? That's what we have to look for. We do have an eclipse coming up at 12 of Sag. Got an eclipse coming up here, and it's not doing too much. Pluto has gone over here. Pluto's approaching Mercury. The chart's ruled by Venus. Okay, so this chart tells me that Venus in Cancer is a real strong symbol for you in your jobs. And that means putting people with a happy herb farm at their house, putting people, moving them to farms that they like, moving them back to the earth to appreciate the earth more and more, helping communities to do this kind of thing. This is very strong in your chart.
I'm from a farm.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about you is anything I ask about you is yes, because you're so big. You're broad. Your mindset is broad and involved in lots of things throughout your life. So the primary thing I would think is keep getting the spiritual. That's what's top issue now. Keep getting the top spiritual guidance developed. You asked about what we can do in a world that's faltering. To me, that's always my answer. Get that established, because you're going to be out by yourself trying to figure out what to do. And this is what's going to line you up. Amy, don't you go on us. Amy said she had to go. Amy, we'll see you later. It was good having you. Okay, now you got about 10 minutes. You've heard me babble on, not babble on, you babble on through all these different things. What questions do you have?
Well, I think you made it very clear what's happening, and it's wonderful. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is, because it's when you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants. It's just nice. And once again, this comes back to the foundation thing. Okay, I'm okay. I'm not, losing it. I am, like
Validation.
Yes, I know. I've been trying to get over that too, but it's
No, this is something you need, is validated, and you're getting it.
yeah. Well, from myself and my husband, yes. So
Yeah, but you're getting it from the planets. That's really exceptional when the planets agree with you. I've been describing to you nothing but what the planets say. And your planets struck me early tonight with how you've been struggling a long time with a really false pattern, which is selfish, non-selfish, selfish, non-selfish, selfish, non-selfish. And I don't care where it came from, it just got there. And it's real common, but you're not struggling with it anymore. You're seeing them both as the same, and it's wonderful.
So I'm happy that the shamanic thing rang with you, and because I'm just at that point now where I am about to just take off and do what I want to do.
That's exactly, here comes ayahuasca. Okay, one thing I wanted to mention to you that I have found that this is true. You are a Neptune individual. You have a lot of Pisces in your charts. And what that means is, what I found, you're not a specialist. You're not going to be told by the powers that be what your specialty is. That's not you. I don't think so. You're a generalist. And that means that if he puts you here, you're going to do the right thing. If he puts you here with this vice president, you're going to do the right thing. Put you here with this farmer, you're going to do the right thing. He knows that. I'm using the word he for all you people that are offended. Okay. Or goddess, she. Okay. She puts you somewhere that you're going to be well representative of the spiritual world. And that's the reason that Aquarians study that blade of grass, because they study it so well that they see every attribute in that blade that's in all of lifetime. Same thing. You try to explain to people how astrology works. Oh my God. Good luck. Because it's the same principle. It's quantum. So I don't think you're going to find a specific, but there's nothing at all wrong with you bouncing from this one to that one to this one to that one, because you're just going to get smarter as you go.
How can how do you see my chart compare to what you are seeing on a broadband for most people right now?
Broadband, most people are really advancing really fast. They're really coming of age quickly. It's just coming on at a supreme speed compared to how bad it was in the 80s and 70s. So I see you as a leader of the gang. One of the things that confuses me about you is in most people's charts, what I'm seeing is they're becoming meta teachers. They're becoming teachers of the teachers. Because what we're seeing with everybody is we've been all following the bottom line, and that's how we got into such a screwed up place, following the bottom line. So that's why I'm seeing so many teachers who are getting really good, but they're not going to do the one-on-one anymore. They're going to go up and teach the teachers how to teach better, which is why I'm on John's butt all the time to get in here and talk about the law system, the legal system.
Well, I have to, especially with the law, I do think a lot is being revealed right now.
Yes, it's being revealed, but is it being fixed? See, we don't have a lot of time. And one of the great things about you is the biggest trouble we have is the environment. And the environmental specialists are the Aquarians.
Well, it starts with ourselves and our thoughts.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And what did you say? We have to stop being assholes.
Sorry, I don't. Can I use those words? I forget that I'm being recorded, but
that's okay. I'm going to make a bunch of badges for next week. But I do you feel the final question? Our new mantra. You're right, Claudia. The final question is: do you feel a little bit better than you started with the question of being a little stuck?
Absolutely, I do. Your intuition and the way you see and read is really amazing, and I just appreciate your whole personality, your whole package. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's reassuring because sometimes sometimes it only happens hopefully once, but when you're just about to let go. Well,
what I'm here to tell you, with great confidence is let go of everything. Go ahead. It is time.
Thank you.
Now, see, that's happening everywhere. Some people are doing it. Some people are doing it big enough, and a whole lot of people are scared shitless.
Scared I'm not.
Huh?
Scared I am not.
Well, good, but that's what the
without
December,
fear,
that's what December 12th show is about.
without having, it's interesting. I keep saying a new foundation. I don't know whether that means a new foundation, but not as a foundation as people would normally think about it. I'm talking about maybe a foundation that is actually supported by spirit. Like that is the
Gotcha.
tether. It's
It's your
not
emotional foundation.
correct.
That's what
And
your chart says, yeah. Well, when I do the 12th show on codependency, I'm going to start the show by saying Valerie figured it out for all of us, and she wants everybody to quit being an asshole. So,
thank you. Thank you all so much for being here and holding space and for your taking your time. I'm so grateful. I feel very good. I feel supported.
well, you are certainly welcome. We thank you for coming on and join us in the future. We're always here.
Yep, come back.
I'm going to go back and watch your other videos now. I apologize. I was late.
You got 249 ones to watch. It's been a delight. Been a delight to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, YouTubers, hanging in there with us while we found the long lost Valerie.
It's going to be okay, everyone. It's going to be great.
John,
Make America
John said something.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Valerie and her husband, and I'm just wondering, do marriages have a birth chart, and do you do marital?
Marriages do have a birth chart, but I found them to be very disappointing. They don't represent the union as much as you might think.
Okay, I got another observation.
Yeah.
I sit through a lot of these readings, and I relate to every one of them. And I think everybody else that's watching too does that as well. And I think we all feel that somehow we've been there. We've been all over the zodiac ourselves, even though in this reading, this time we're not an Aquarian. Sometime we may have been. And
That's
somehow we can relate to that because we're all one.
Yeah, I think that is true. And to answer one of your other questions, Valerie, we're all starting to learn that we're one. And a lot of people are freaked out because of the ramifications. And we need that Aquarian part of us that says, hell with it. You know, if we have to shut this door to become one, then let's do it. But that holding hands and being Aquarian as a group, working as a group collaboratively is the answer. Thank you for being with us. You come back now.
Thanks,
Bye.
Valerie. Thanks, Rick.
Bye, YouTubers.
Good
Thanks,
night,
John,
everybody.
Susan, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.